Hey everybody, today Tony and I are going to be testing out the E-M10 and the Sony a6000.
Yeah, this is Sony's newest NEX style mirrorless camera. It's basically replacing the NEX 6 and 7, and it has the world's fastest autofocus system.
Which we're
according to Sony.
Yeah, and I'm interested in that because when we tested the E-M10, we loved it, but the autofocusing system left something to be desired.
Yeah, and yet it was still our favorite walking around, travel, casual photography camera, even more than our DSLRs. But yeah, the AF was not great, and the image quality was not great. But we loved it so much we didn't mind. And this might have better at both of those things.
So which lenses are we going to be testing out? I know we're using a kit lens for each one because that's the first lens people get.
Yeah, and then a reasonably priced portrait lens, which means like $300, $350. The Sony 50 f1.8 and the Olympus 45 f1.8.
Well, it's a pretty nice day, so maybe the first thing we can test is the autofocusing, since we're interested in that, and why don't we go outside and see what we can do?
Okay, you want to bring those dogs?
Cowboy Sandy, you want to go for a walk? You want to go to the beach? You want to go for a walk? You do? You want to go for a walk?
So we're going to head to the beach with Cowboy and Sandy and get some pictures of them running and see how the autofocusing system is on the a6000.
I'm also bringing along my D3300 and my XT1. The XT1 also claims to have the world's fastest autofocus, and the D3300 is representing cheap DSLRs. We'll see how that does. The last time we tested motion tracking, the XT1 beat the E-M10, but couldn't keep up with DSLRs in lower light. Let's see how it does in full sun.
So Tony and I are here at the beach because it's a beautiful sunny day, so we have plenty of light, and this also happens to be Sandy's favorite place to run. So I'm going to get Sandy running, and Tony's going to take pictures with the a6000 and see how that autofocusing system really holds up.
The a6000 got only 20% in focus. However, at 11 frames a second, FPS, that still gave us 2 sharp frames every second. The E-M10 got 30% in focus, but its slower 3.5 frames a second with active focusing gave us only 1 sharp FPS. The D3300 DSLR got 65% in focus with 5 FPS, yielding 3 sharp FPS. The XT1 got about 60% sharp, yielding about 4.5 sharp frames a second, and winning the bright light action challenge, but it costs twice as much as the other cameras.
Good, Sandy. Good.
So far, so good. You want to go try them out as travel cameras? We could be tourists for a little bit.
Sure, sounds like fun.
Right.
Sandy, do you want to go home?
No, not really.
Good girl.
So something you have to factor in when you're buying into one of these systems, whether it's Sony or Olympus or Fuji or whatever, is how much the lenses cost and whether you have the lenses you want. With the Sony system, for example, they have a pretty good variety of lenses, but they don't have nearly as many lenses as Olympus has. Like, you can get a $350 portrait lens for either Sony or Olympus, and they do a good job.
Yeah.
But for Olympus, you can also get like $1,000 super high quality 75mm f1.8 by Olympus. It's an amazing portrait lens. Or you can get the Panasonic's new 42.5mm f1.2 portrait lens, $1,600.
So basically you're looking to see if you can grow with your camera, if your camera system can grow with you as a photographer.
Yeah, and Sony, you just have one lens. It's that 50 f1.8 that we have, and it's good, but you don't have anything that could go professional quality, for example. And the Micro Four Thirds system just has way more lenses than Fuji or any of the other mirrorless systems.
But with the Sony, we've been seeing higher image quality.
So much better pictures from that bigger sensor, right?
And way better autofocusing.
Yeah, the autofocusing definitely beat it. The E-M1 and the Micro Four Thirds system did better, but even that, for quickly moving subjects, it didn't keep up with the Fuji or the Sony, much less. It's hard. There's not any clear answer, right?
Yeah.
They all have their pluses and minuses, so you kind of have to take in all the information and decide what's important to you.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people think that there is just a best camera that every photographer should get, and that's just not the case at all. You have to get the camera that works for you and that fits your photographic needs.
Yeah, Sony and Fuji, all about the image quality, Micro Four Thirds, smaller, more lenses, and cheaper lens options too. So I have to remember how to change the focusing point. They don't make it easy. It's like they expect you just to use
Can you
the
just
automatic.
touch the screen like this one?
No, it doesn't have a touch screen. You know, people are always like, oh, you don't need a touch screen, but
You don't need it, but you also don't need chai lattes. It's just a nice thing.
so here I'm just trying to get our cameraman Justin, and for some reason it's not doing face detection. Oh, wait, it got his face. Nope, now it's off his face. Wait, now it's on his face. Okay. Oh, awesome.
Oh, it worked.
So once it got onto his face, then it nailed the exposure. That's nice. Try it with that Olympus and see. Oh, all right, it did a pretty good job.
You look cool, Justin.
And one nice thing about the Olympus is it actually latches onto the nearest eye. The Sony's supposed to do that too, but I haven't actually experienced it doing that. The Olympus seems to find the eye really good.
Yeah, I still found myself using a little bit of exposure compensation.
It was still underexposed.
Maybe I'm just a control freak.
Let me see your last picture, how it turned out.
Yours looks better.
Yeah, I think my lens is better.
But I made
Because
Justin
yours gets
smile.
washed out. Yeah.
Oh, your lens is better? Yeah, mine is really washed out.
Maybe so. Look how clear that is.
But also, just the color is better in yours. Mine looks really blue.
Yeah, yours is struggling with the backlighting.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's something.
Oh, is your flash really weird?
Huh?
Show me your flash. Watch this. I laugh every time because Justin said it looks like Johnny 5.
It does look like Johnny 5. Oh, yeah.
Johnny 5 alive.
How does the battery life on that one?
Well, I was already running low on battery, but here's the thing. You can charge this with just any USB cable. Like the same one you use for your phone or whatever. So this is all you have to travel with.
That's really sweet because when we took this on our vacation, the cable was so big and it was kind of ridiculous to travel with. And then it actually died midway through the day one day.
Every day, yeah.
Every day, actually, and we
Well, with this-
couldn't bring the charger.
This is just a little battery charger that I have from RAV Power, and I use it to charge my phone or any USB device, and I can just plug this in and stick it in my pocket and charge it wherever I go. So this one charger can charge my camera, my phone, and everything else. It just makes so much sense, and I wish every camera manufacturer would do this. USB charging.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
We'll have to bring this on a trip and see how it holds up. How about this? Straight up style-wise, if you're trying to be the coolest photographer on your block, which one would make you look the coolest?
I mean, this looks like you're at Disneyland trying to take pictures of your kids.
That looks like a pretty standard point and shoot to me.
Yeah. This makes you look like you're like a Vietnam War photographer or something.
That's
You
what you're
think?
going for? That's kind of weird.
You look like a badass photojournalist with
I
that.
just think this one's so well designed. I think this one's beautiful.
Yeah, this
But I
has a
don't think
nice deep grip.
that one is more
It
comfortable
feels
to hold.
good in the hands.
Yeah, I don't think that this one's ugly. I think it's just more generic looking. And this one is more eye-catching.
But I find that dials and buttons in that are so much easier to reach.
Yeah, so this has really comfortable placement of the dials, I think. And they're raised up a little bit. They're kind of staggered. It's just comfortable to use. Whereas your camera,
Yeah, if I want to adjust the aperture, it's here, which, like this dial is easier to turn, but you don't turn that very often. The main dial here is a very weird place, and then the secondary dial is down here, and I have to like move my whole hand out of the way. Like my thumb would rest over here, not over here. So it's just you can't do it one-handed.
No, I
you
found
have to
that
shift
to
the
be
weight
really
over here,
uncomfortable.
and then like take your hand off here and do it. It's not meant for people who are actually using the dials. It seems to be meant for more automatic operation. And you know what else? I often manually move the autofocus point around. I'll let the camera pick where it wants to focus. But look what I have to do to change the focus point. Now, if I put it on a shortcut key, that's the best you can do. And then I have to scroll down to flexible spot M, push the center here, and then now I can scroll and select a focusing point, and then I do that again. And now it'll autofocus on that point. So show me what you have to do to choose your focusing point on that camera.
I've just been touching the screen. So you can just touch anywhere on the screen and that's your new autofocusing point.
Yeah, and you can also just push those buttons, like just push those around. Yeah, no extra menus to go through, no need to push a shortcut button first, you just get immediate access to the focus point. And that's like the number one thing you do is change the focus point and change the main dial. And on this camera, they're just laid out terribly.
I guess you get used to it though, because with this camera, even if I choose the right autofocusing point, I can't get a moving subject in focus.
Yeah, I guess
So
I'd
what's
rather
the
have
point?
I'd rather have functional AF that was a pain to select than
Only these two cameras could have a baby.
right? With this autofocus system and those controls and looks.
It'd be like, what's that commercial? It's like, you got your chocolate and my peanut butter. That one, we need a little bit of that action going on. This one is easier to use.
I definitely think so.
Maybe
and I
this
really
is
love
the
that
better
touchscreen.
beginner camera. It's more fun, right? It's
At
a
the same
fun
time, I feel
camera.
like it's also better at being a serious camera because of like the position of those dials and the ability to select the focus point real quick. Like all the stuff a pro does. Except
Yeah.
you're gonna get mad at the autofocus every time you try to use it.
So it has failed me a few times and it's frustrating, but it's fun to use and it's really easy to use. So I keep going back to it. And I do agree, when I got my hands on this camera, at first it felt really good. It has a nice deep grip. There were a lot of things that I liked about it, except these dials are so unnatural.
Yeah.
You have to cock your whole hand back just to use them.
Yeah. It doesn't want to be used that way.
But once you get used to it, I'm sure it's fine.
I guess you probably get used
You
to
just
it.
get used to it.
Here's another thing, viewfinder placement. Over here on the left versus in the middle. So I can hold this up and see what's going on. But with this camera and most other cameras, I hold it up to my eye and it like jams against my nose.
Oh,
I love the corner viewfinder placement.
this is schnoz friendly.
Yeah, it is.
I do like that.
Yeah.
It's not as cool because that looks like a DSLR. The DSLRs have it in the middle because it has to be lined up with the lens.
Yeah.
This just makes more sense functionally.
So
this
this-
is a well
This ditched tradition and went with practical.
practical, right? Though it's traditional for like rangefinder cameras,
Yeah.
but not DSLRs or SLRs. So the beach is a great spot for portraits. You want to use that horizon as a compositional element. So what I like to do is to kind of move up or down so that that horizon is right at the rule of thirds. So I'll put her face in the frame and focus on the nearest eye and then put that horizon right at the rule of thirds and make sure it's nice and level too. For headshots, I'll even get really close and tight, and some people don't like it, but I like to crop right into the hairline.
I'm gonna crop into your hairline. I know you don't like it, but that's just how I roll.
One problem with the beach is you get that hard sun and there's not usually any shade, so we're gonna head out of here and see if we can find some natural shade because we didn't bring diffusers or anything.
You can also put her back to the sun if you want her face in shade. Let's try over here.
If you're shooting side by side with somebody, the person you're shooting won't know where to look. So I never like to take pictures at the same time as somebody else. Just take turns so that way you'll always get eye contact. Look how much better that light looks when her face is in the shade. So I can control the placement of the horizon by moving my camera up or down. You can see as I move down, I can move that horizon down and put it right at the rule of thirds. That's nice. Are you able to keep her face in focus at all, Chelsea? Mine's like not working at all. Both cameras' focusing systems failed to keep up with Madeline on the swings. We were able to salvage a few sharp shots, but if you want an $800 camera for action, you're better off with a DSLR. You can't really pose your kids at the playground, but what you can do is keep the sun in front of you so that it will be to their back and their face will be in shade. Another thing I like to do is to put a little Dutch tilt on the camera. Just turn it at not a 45-degree angle, but like a 15, 20-degree angle. And that helps just convey motion. Makes it a little more lively than if you just hold the camera straight like that. Both these cameras have screens that can be pretty easily viewed in the sun, even with sunglasses on, but one thing I like about mirrorless cameras is that electric viewfinder. I can hold it up to my eye and review pictures really easily without any distractions or any glare. Maybe it's the bright colors, but for some reason the focusing is just failing me right now. Whatever you do, do not press this button. In some dark shelves, I handheld the cameras to test image stabilization. The Sony's lens stabilization got 100% at 1/15 of a second and 50% at 1/6. The E-M10 got 60% at 1/15 and 0% at 1/6. The Sony clearly wins as long as you use stabilized lenses. All right, let's just head back home and do some lab tests. All right, Chelsea, so what did you think? E-M10 or a6000?
Oh, you know what? That's a really hard decision because they're each good at different things. Overall, I think that the Alpha 6000 is sharper.
Yeah.
It's got 24.3 megapixels versus the 16. It has a bigger sensor by 30%.
Yeah,
and its autofocusing system, it seems to be better.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I don't know. I guess I can't name anyone that wouldn't want those things. But the thing about this camera is that, I mean, you look at it and it's just, I like the design actually. I like that the buttons are recessed and it's simple. But the camera I thought was a tiny bit joyless. The E-M10 on the other hand, not as sharp, not as fast, but it's a fun little camera.
Yeah, it's fun to use, you're right.
It is fun to use.
And I think at the $800 price range, like that can be the most important thing. Enjoying photography, because that's what's going to push you to the next level, is a camera that you love carrying with you and you love using.
Yeah, I'll also say that this has more lenses available.
So many more.
And this is really limiting. I mean, there's only one portrait lens available, so that could be one lens. And if you aren't super serious, if you're not going to be pro, and if you want to have a little bit of fun with the camera and post your pictures directly online, both can do that, but this has built-in filters that are really cool, really modern. You could put a collage up, so if you like 3 pictures that you took, you could put them into one collage and post it, and it's easy to use. I'd say overall both cameras are really intuitive. I loved that right away I figured out this camera. I knew how to adjust the ISO, the aperture, the shutter speed. Took me no time. Same with this camera. That wasn't the case with the Fuji. So
yeah,
easy
compared
menu
to the Fuji,
systems,
which did have a better autofocus system, they're both way easier to use.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the a6000 is the camera for you like pixel peepers out there.
Pixel peepers,
for like the nerds who just want massive megapixels and perfect images.
Yeah. Also night images. This is better for night photography.
Yeah, definitely.
This I couldn't, and I love night photography.
Everything is just, there's a little bit of noise in there. We're kind of pixel peepers too because of our professional backgrounds.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we always do kind of grimace when we look at the E-M10 pictures or any micro four thirds pictures, just because of the smaller sensor. But I think this is the E-M10 is probably the right camera for the average person who maybe doesn't watch YouTube reviews of cameras.
Yeah.
Your mom or your grandpa or your dad. Okay, so I even think I can recommend the a6000 to the average person over an entry-level DSLR, and I haven't really felt comfortable doing that before. I feel like it's an excellent DSLR replacement for entry-level DSLRs, as long as you don't plan to do any action. If you're chasing kids in the playground, or you want to take pictures of sports or wildlife.
Or a diving osprey, plucking a fish from a pond.
DSLR.
DSLR.
But if you're taking pictures of your kid's birthday party, or you're just traveling and on vacation, I'd happily recommend the a6000. And if you're not worried about image quality too much, if you're just putting it on Facebook or maybe making 8x10 prints, but you're not really nitpicking the image quality, go for the E-M10. So many lenses, so much fun to use.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that.
All right.
If you're interested in learning more about photography, check out our book, Stunning Digital Photography. It's the #1 photography book in the world. Tony wrote it, and I think it's wonderful.
Over 9 hours of video built right into that, so it's not a lame old book. It's a good book.
Speaking of videos, if you like our videos, you're going to love our DVD set. 4 DVDs, tons of video. How long?
7 hours?
It's like 6 hours of never before seen video anywhere. It's a complete bargain. We sell it for $60. I dare you to find a better bargain. And if you do, congratulations. I'll give you a coupon. Match the price. And if you love learning about gear, you want to know the right gear to buy for the right situation, we also have a buying guide. It's good.
Tons of information about bodies, lenses, flashes, all sorts of different camera systems, studio lights even, tripods, monopods, everything that you need.
Everything.
Cheap. And please feel free to subscribe to see more free videos and give us a like. That helps encourage us and keeps us going. Thanks so much. Any questions, just add a comment down below.
Thank you.